Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of We Are in This Together. And our guest today is Ali Charafeddine, ACEZ Media. Welcome, Ali, to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you, Wesley. Thank you for having me.
So, We Are in This Together is a show basically that chronicles our story as humans living during this time. During the pandemic of the coronavirus COVID-19 illness. And we do reflect here on the stories of people during that time. And there's a lot of channels that are speaking about useful information, health information, safety. There is news is bombarding us 24 hours with updates. In the meanwhile, we are actually living history as it unfolds. So we are going to speak about this from a human perspective, from a personal perspective, the personal stories and narrations for about half an hour to about an hour. So I'd like to start with you first. Let me introduce you first because this is the habit of introducing our guests. So Ali is my brother. He is a senior director in Quicken Loans, and he is also the founder and CEO of ACEZ Media, a motivational media platform where he has a podcast and a YouTube channel and social media channels. Soul Good is motivation. Ali is a graduate from Fordson High School. He studied paralegal in his college, and then he went into business. He has a long experience in business, and now he's one of the leaders in the renaissance of the city of Detroit. Ali, talk to us about your personal experience so far with this situation.
Yeah, so similar to everybody else, I didn't take it very serious in the beginning. I could remember months ago when we were in meetings at work, and a couple of leaders brought it up and said, "Hey, you hear about this coronavirus? And did you hear about it in China?" And we kind of all brushed it off, and nobody really paid much attention to it. And then this one person kept bringing it up in meetings, and then before you know it, it's in the U.S. I'm like, "Isn't that what you were talking about for 3 months?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you about." And didn't take it serious in the beginning till somebody that works at Quicken Loans, actually their family had gotten it. So once I've seen that it's actually real, we started taking it serious, of course. And I think I had 2 approaches to it. The first approach was, kind of a depression, eating, working, and sleeping, eating, working, sleeping, fell in that cycle. And then I came into the opposite of that approach. And now
you're talking about the quarantine when you had to stay home and you started staying home and working from home.
Yeah. So within 3 days, Quicken Loans and all, the family of companies, they transformed to an at-home company for everybody, and they immediately shipped equipment home to every single teammate's homes that works there. And Dell stocks went up within a couple of days. That's probably why, if you've seen Dell stocks shoot up. they bought a lot of orders, so it was crazy to see that the operational advantage that we had was awesome. But yeah, so I started working from home along with everybody else, and I'll tell you, leading from home is probably the hardest leadership I've ever experienced, and I think it's a great experience to go through, but it's different, because not only are you leading people in business and trying to motivate them to do their every single day jobs, but now you're motivating them to stay strong through all this craziness going on outside these walls. And then motivating them to stay strong throughout the clients you're speaking to on the phone who are also going through the same things.
Right. So our audience is also on the same page. Why don't you tell us about the nature of your job? What do you do usually? And now, how do you do it now remotely?
Yeah, so the nature of my job, I'm a senior director of mortgage banking at Quicken Loans. I run a team of 15 to 20 mortgage bankers. And our job is refinance. We help people save money on their mortgages by dropping their interest rate, consolidating debts, or taking some cash out of their mortgages. And typically my job is I come into work, I huddle up my team. It's very visible. It's very physical because we're all around each other all day, moving, talking, and I'm coaching live all day long, every single day. And then when I want to talk to somebody or coach somebody, we take a walk together. We go to an office. We go eat together in the cafeteria. We go outside in downtown and take a walk outside. So that's usually the nature of my job every single day. And now it's at home. So instead of talking to people live, we're doing something similar to this, where we're doing video conference in the morning for a huddle. But then we're calling each other many times throughout the day, just to keep each other going throughout the day and make sure that it's very hard to. When I see somebody's physiology, or when I see the way somebody comes to work or looks at work or looks in a meeting, it's very easy to coach that person and know what's going on or if they need help. But when somebody's sitting at home behind a screen, you can't really tell what's going on with them emotionally. You can't tell their physiology. So that's why it takes leadership to the next level, where you got to be a lot more attentive to your people.
So what are some of the things that you felt that you had to do differently now that we are in this situation in terms of leading your team?
Yeah, so some things that I'm doing differently is I'm calling my folks many times throughout the day. And anytime I can get them on video, I get them on video. Just seeing somebody makes it a little different than just talking to somebody. So I'm keeping a list of my folks. I try to talk to each of them twice, 2 to 3 times a day, make sure I'm giving my attention equally to everybody. And we're doing things a little differently. Instead of buying somebody lunch, we're door dashing lunch to them. I'm trying to get their wives or their husbands or their families on camera as well. Thank them for their support, because we're working a lot of hours here from home trying to help out our clients.
That's awesome, man. I just attended a webinar by WordPress. As you know, WordPress, almost 67% of the internet is on WordPress. It is the largest provider for website platforms. And WordPress is very peculiar. It's a very special company because they work 100% remotely. Fascinating model. And so they're the masters of this. They have done it from day one. They've never had like a headquarters or a building for people as a main source of work. So they've done a webinar about this right away in the first few days of the quarantine. And one of the things they said is that one of the key things about working remotely is that you have to call or do like screenplay one-on-one continuously with your members, so you have this connection, so people like feel that their work is being being interactive and someone else is engaging with what they're doing. So thanks for mentioning that. Okay, so for history's sake, today is March 28, 2020. The new COVID-19 cases reported in Michigan are 993, and the new COVID-19 deaths reported in Michigan are 19. Hopefully a lot more recoveries. I don't have the number of recoveries. The total cases in Michigan so far is 4,650, and the total COVID-19 deaths to date in Michigan is 111. And I just mentioned this for history. I know that people have this data, but I mentioned this because this is an oral historical narration. So Ali, so that's at the work level. Talk to us about your at a personal level. So you're a motivational speaker. You've always talked about the miracle morning, about rituals. You're a fan of the W Planner, of planning and organizing your day. So how did that help you? What are how are you facing this all of a sudden, managing yourself by yourself in your home for 24 hours?
Yeah, so as I was saying in the beginning, I wasn't managing it well. I was working 14, 15 hours a day. After I'd get off work, I'd eat, watch TV, sleep, come back to the computer and work again. These computers behind me here. And I did that for 3 or 4 days. And then, I woke up one morning, I said, okay, I got it out of my system. And it's time for a change. You see, right now, a lot of folks, like when I speak to folks about motivation and trying to inspire different people out there, a lot of times I hear things like, my friends want to do this. And when I go out, it's hard to eat clean. And it's hard to save money when things are going on. And if you think about it right now, the one positive thing we have right now with this disaster going on outside is that there is no more distractions. There is no more excuses. And right now you're owning your environment and there is nothing else that's going to come in between. So what I've been doing now is just taking advantage of my environment. I'm treating it like I'm in a first-class prison. You know, I actually had a dream this was a first-class prison. And I was working out just like Will Smith was working out in the movie I Am Legend. And that's what I've been doing. I've been waking up in the morning, doing the miracle morning, like you said. I'm doing more reading. I'm doing cardio twice a day, once in the morning, once at night. And here's what I'll tell you. The difference between the first couple of days when I was just watching TV, working, eating, and sleeping, to the difference of now when I'm working out, reading, meditating, focusing on my passions as far as motivation, making videos and podcasts through the same format that we're doing now. The difference in these two human beings is completely different. This human being right here that wasn't doing anything but eating, sleeping, working was miserable. And now that I'm doing everything else, I really feel alive again. So my one piece of advice for everybody out there is get physical, do things in your life. If you ever had passions that you buried, this is the time to bring them back out. There's nothing but time on our hands right now, and you have nothing but your house inside to take advantage of it. So now I'm trying to take advantage of every single minute. I'm planning out my day as if I was driving into work. I'm planning hour by hour and trying to maximize every single day and capitalize on this opportunity.
Awesome. The same thing I'm doing. You know, I'm trying to develop structure. I think everyone the first few days they just weren't. There was a lot of stress and confusion, but then afterwards people know that this is going to take a while. And my estimate from my reading, from reading all the stuff about this, I feel that this is going to take at least till June. That's the best case scenario. So people have to plan long run. This is not a short or temporary thing. They have to plan long run, and this is an opportunity for people. I think there was an article today in CNN, and also there was one on Al Jazeera. The same topic is all those people who've always dreamt and fantasized about being home. This is your opportunity. Also, another good advice, if you haven't reached to that point yet, because many people have, this is the time for it, is that you have to block the news. You have to limit the news to like once or twice a day and not be bombarded with the news all day. For me, I even deleted turned WhatsApp off, because that's all the where all the stream of messages come in. And although 50% of them are memes and jokes, but some of them are serious news, and I'm not interested in hearing any of that anymore. I need to focus on what I want to do. So, Alex,
fun fact.
Go ahead.
Barack Obama, while he was in office as president, did not watch the news until noon daily. He used to do his workout routine, his breakfast, his treadmill, his reading, and then he had a certain time for the news. So even if the president blocked off the news, this tells you a little bit of, we need to block out the news as well.
Right. I mean, the Secret Service will walk in and talk to him if there's something urgent.
Yeah.
ACEZ, tell us something motivational about this situation. Something that you feel has motivated you.
So here's what I'll tell you as far as motivation is concerned, and this goes for myself as well. If you're not going to get up and be motivated right now, then you're never going to get up and be motivated ever. This is the perfect time right now with everything going on outside. When you talk about, dying the way you want to die, being remembered for what your purpose is, this is where you really prove and really think about kind of things and live for those kind of things. So right now, there is no excuse. There is no distractions. You have nothing but time inside of your home to focus on the things that are important to you. And that's really all you have. There's no other decision right now. We're pressed up against the corner, and we got to make the best out of the situation that we have. And the way to do that is to capitalize on it. If you're going to be stuck at home, and if you're working or you're not fortunate enough to work, then make up for those negatives with a positive. Maybe you could get healthy. Maybe you could get fit. Maybe you could start reading again. Maybe you could pick up the paintbrush again if you're a painter. Whatever it is, when this moment passes, you want to look back and say, I capitalized on that moment, and this moment changed my life because of A, B, and C. Not I sat down, I was depressed, and I shared news memes and funny jokes with my friends for 2 months straight and ate ice cream on a couch. So just make sure when you do look back, if we all survive this moment, which God willing we will, you can look back and say that you capitalized on the moment and you did something that made you more successful in your life.
Would you consider this as the most memorable event in your life?
Yeah, so right now it's hard to say because we're still living through the moment. We're not past it yet. but I do feel like this is going to be a big moment in history that we'll talk about forever.
Did your work get affected in any way?
My work, we're actually breaking records right now because all Americans are at home, so we're doing a lot better than other organizations. But it's because we're very adaptable and we got an operational advantage as far as how quick we could all move aligned under one umbrella. But so for mortgages, we're doing good because we're phone services, we're a call center, and most people are at home, so we're getting more people to talk to on the phone. And then with people being a little worried right now about job security and income, people are pulling out cash out of their homes and utilizing the equity. So we're actually more busy right now, which we're fortunate to be.
Okay. In that regard, can you give advice? I don't know if you're allowed to give advice, but can you give any advice as far as mortgage and refinancing?
I mean, I can't give specific advice as far as investing. I could tell you that right now, if you have a mortgage and you have over a 4%, you should give me a call or send me a message. You could definitely be helped. There's interest rates right now on 15-year mortgages down to 2.625% fixed. There's interest rates on 30 years right now down to 3% fixed. So the rates are historically low right now, and values are. You still hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry. And values are historically high, so there is no better time to be looking into refinancing or taking advantage of some equity if you wanted.
What is the number that you want people to call you at?
You could call me at 313-373-2519.
2519.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's if you want to utilize some equity or if you have a rate over 4% that you want to save some money monthly on.
All right. So, Alex, let's go to the. I don't want to take much of your time because you've told me earlier, and I want to talk to you about some of the questions that we have, traditional questions in our this broadcast. So the first question to you is, what is the latest book that you have read? Number one, and also, what is a book that you recommend others to read right now?
So the book that I'm actually reading, I'm about 75% of the way through. Could I call that as the last book? Because I actually like this book a lot. It might answer both questions.
Sure.
And it's called The Obstacle is the Way. And it's a book about switching your perspective of failure and how the hardest times that you have to deal with in your life are the most important times that cause the most change. And it's called The Obstacle is the Way. And it's very relatable to what's going on right now. This is one of the hardest times, I believe, as humans, of something we have to deal with as far as a virus that's taken over the country and the globe. And it talks about how this time right here, not specifically this time, but you could use this as an example, as one of the hardest times. That's the most important time to capitalize and actually do something, because that's where the most growth happens. And this whole book talks about that and uses many examples of that. But every chapter I read in this book gets better and better.
Is that the book that you're reading right now, and that's the one that you recommend, huh?
Correct. The Obstacle is the Way.
All right. Would you mind putting it on silent during the broadcast? Is it on?
I don't use this MacBook much, so I got to disconnect it for you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay, what is the latest music that you've been hearing? And if there is a music that you've found or discovered, or that you feel that people should listen to or hear or experience?
Music right now, there's a song, I don't know let me search it for you here. So this is actually a creative song if you're familiar with Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And I could send it in the comments, right?
Yes, you can.
So it's called I Feel Like I'm Will, and it's actually about Will Smith, the rapper, and it talks about every single movie he's ever made, and somebody makes a rap about him, about how he's inspired him throughout his life. And the song's about he writes a song through every single movie that Will Smith's ever made. And Will Smith actually posted a video the next day about how cool that was to him and how happy he is that he actually inspired this guy to do something like that. So I just thought it was a cool concept and a cool video.
Did you type it in the comments?
I'm about to find it for you right now. I'm trying to shut down this FaceTime for you so my phone stops ringing here.
Okay, yeah. If you type it in the comments, we can post it actually on the screen.
You could.
I can highlight your comment.
Got it.
All right. So Alex, the next question, I don't know if you can answer the question while you're typing, is about film. So what is the last film you've watched, and what's the film that you recommend?
I just sent it in right now in the comments. But as far as the last film I've watched, so just a fun fact, I've probably fell asleep on the last 68 films I've watched. I haven't gone through a full film since Aladdin. Oh, of course. The last full film I watched was Bad Boys 3, also with Will Smith. He's a hot topic today. Yeah.
And what's the film that you recommend in general?
As far as like entertaining or
whatever you want. What do you want to recommend for our audience?
I would say The Irishman was a pretty inspiring film.
Yeah, how was it inspiring?
It was inspiring because most of these actors are in their, they're a lot older than they were back in the day when they were in their prime, and the way they acted things out in their 60s and some of them in their 70s was pretty inspiring to see that they could still come out and still put the same level of energy into their craft as they did 30, 40 years ago. I'm sure that everybody's familiar with those actors. I mean, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino. Doesn't get better than those.
I'm sure also a lot of people watch this because of the big hype that the media did for it, and of course it also was nominated for Oscars. Okay, so the next question is, what is the last show, and what do you recommend? Any show that you're watching right now, and is there a show that you like to recommend to others?
I just started a show today called The Lion. The Lion. Netflix. Tiger King. Tiger King is what it's called on Netflix. It's a new show out. I believe it's 7 episodes. I'm on episode 3. It's about crazy people that house tigers that they keep crazy wild cats, and they have them for show, and becomes a rival between a woman and a guy that both have the same exact thing, and somebody gets murdered, and it goes deep into this trial in this case, and it's a pretty crazy show. It's called The Tiger King.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, some weird fellows that grow cats.
Is it like a documentary?
Yeah, it's like a 7-episode documentary.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're gonna have some Arab having a tiger.
No, someone that looks like an Arab. It wasn't really Arab.
Yeah. Okay. What is the game? Is there a game that you recommend? People are staying home. They probably spend some time, playing games together, families, etc.
Yeah, so usually we play board games when folks are allowed to come over, and when you have company and guests. Right now you can't play board games, so I recommend buying the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch, you can actually play online with friends, and you can play the same board games virtually. So there's Monopoly, there's Risk, there's Tetris, there's Mario Party, and there's a lot of fun games that me and my friends have been playing, and me and my wife have been playing together too as well.
Nice, interesting. Nintendo, how do you spell Nintendo? Nintando? Nintendo?
Nintendo Switch.
Okay. I'm not so much familiar with these things. Okay. What's a website or blog that you recommend?
Website or blog? I don't really I'm not really on any websites or blogs.
Okay. Is there anyone that you follow on social media?
Yeah, I follow a few people heavily. I follow Gary Vaynerchuk, and
of course.
Yeah.
Well.
As far as podcasts, Joe Rogan, I recommend highly.
Joe Rogan?
Yeah. He inspired me to start doing podcasts myself.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
What's the name of your podcast?
ACEZ Motivation. It's called Shotcast.
Shotcast. Why is it called Shotcast?
Because podcasts typically, the normal podcast could be on various topics and sometimes gets off topic and stuff. With this Shotcast, we try to focus on one shot of inspiration, and we try to drive it home throughout the whole episode. So it's really focused and more serious than just a regular broad podcast.
All right, this question is from Amr Zahar. What is an Arabic food that reminds you of your childhood?
Arabic food that reminds me of my childhood?
Mm-hmm.
I would say fette.
Yeah?
Because I
Why?
can remember one time about 15, maybe 20 years ago, I was eating fette, and after I finished eating it, I discovered it was cow tongues. And, ever since then, I'll tell you, my mom only makes it with meat. Let's just keep the story like that.
That's awesome. How was your reaction to that? Man, I miss it with cow. Because of you, we never had cow tongues again.
Yeah, that is because of me. No, I wasn't happy to hear that I was eating cow tongues. I thought it tasted a little chewy, and I prefer it with meat. That's what I've been doing for the next.
Oh man, I miss cow tongues.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Okay, I'm gonna leave the heaviest question to the end. Question: How will we remind ourselves of the lessons we are learning from this? So first of all, tell me a few lessons that we're learning from this.
Adaptability is a big one, I think. How adaptable are you when things change in life? That's one lesson we're learning. Another lesson that we're learning, some people the hard way and some people are blessed, is having an emergency fund, having a cushion. We talk to our clients all the time and tell them, you got to have a 6-month reserve in case of crazy things. We've been saying this for as long as I've been at Quicken Loans, for the last 5 or 6 years. When I talk to clients that only have $500 in the bank or are living check to check, I talk about the importance of having a 6-month reserve, because you never know what could happen in the world. And when I've been saying that, clients agree, and like I say it, and now we're actually going through it where a 6-month reserve is crucial. So if you're somebody that got struck and are having hardship, then I think when you come out of the situation, your first goal should be to build a reserve where if something were to ever happen, you'd be safe and secure for at least 6 months.
Cool.
Adaptability as well, I believe, is important. If you own a business or you're in a business, you got to always be thinking about how could you change and adapt if things happen like this. So I think that's a big lesson as well. And then capitalizing would be lesson number 3. Are you someone that capitalizes on the opportunity? Or are you somebody that wastes time and soaks in the negativity and just allows it to take over?
Mm-hmm. Is there? Do you miss family?
Yeah, of course. It sucks doing it virtually.
Mm-hmm.
I miss the Sunday breakfast, but at the same time, we got to keep our family safe. So I mean, it's something that has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we've developed a lot of appreciation for all this time that we had the opportunity of spending together, and we used to take for granted.
Correct.
I hope that everyone, when they come out, they appreciate that more, and they show up to Sunday breakfast.
Maybe more traditions as well.
Yeah. How's Mike doing?
He's doing good.
All right. Last question. What was your last epiphany or aha moment? Something that like an idea that came to you that was like an amazing idea, or something that you felt like it changed you forever?
I might have to reverse that one and ask you while I think a little.
I'm sorry. I usually, shock my. As my audience know, these interviews are not scripted. They're very raw and they're very real. We are not here promoting. This is like nonprofit. We're not promoting any business or making any profit out of this. We're really here for the story. So we don't prep our guests. So we give, if you need to take time thinking about the answer, feel free to do so.
I mean, I guess with everything going on right now, it's not really like an idea or an aha moment, but it's really showed me the power of media and social media and all these platforms and the power they have over people. And the aha moment is just that you could really do whatever you want as far as becoming successful with using the internet platform that we have. It's crazy. Like, you look at TikTok and these videos of people dancing, and like dumb little videos that people are making, or like anything silly that gets popular and famous. Like I wouldn't say it's so easy, but I mean, it could be just one slight small idea that you just put out there, and it could take you to the next level, really. And with the platform we have, it's just amazing. It could be anybody out there in the world, and they could get their name out there within minutes. And you've seen that with this internet and the media and what's going on. I mean, it's obvious that the media controls the world right now, and all the information we're feeding off of is from these social platforms. So the aha moment is using these social platforms in business, using these platforms to create your success, and using these platforms to learn and to execute through life. Everything's available there for you. You just have to look at it.
Thanks, Alex. All right, so at the end of our episode, we thank you very much, Ali, for being with us and for taking your time to share with our audience and with Dearborn. And is there any final thoughts, final words?
Yeah, I mean, the final thoughts would just be to capitalize on this moment. Get back there, get your passions out, get your hobbies out, spend more time talking to your family, spend more time with your kids, with your wife, speak to friends that you haven't spoke to 5-10 years ago, structure out your day and capitalize on every single hour. And it's crazy the things you could accomplish right now staying at home. You have almost double the time that you usually would out there in the world with everything else that you used to do. So capitalize on it and leave with no regrets.
Thanks, Alex. Thank you, our audience. We're going to see you again next week. Please stay tuned for the next episode. This will be posted by Monday on dearbornblog.com, on the YouTube channel, and also it will be available on the podcast on iTunes and also on Stitcher for Android users under Dearborn Blog, or you can search for Dearborn Blog Open Mic. We are in this together. Thank you, Alex. Good evening.
Thank you.